Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Got a few people still joining us, but we're going to get started anyway because we've got a little house cleaning to do. Today's broadcast is your capability statement. Actually, the invitation went out as, do you have one? And now that you're here, it's your capability statement. Portions of this presentation were done in 2015 with a very, very dear friend, Eileen Kent. So let's move along. Today's sponsor is Top Priority Care Services, and our special guest today is Sharon Johnson of Top Priority. She'll be able to answer any questions you may have about her capability statement and the services that we have her offering on her newly awarded a few months ago GSA contract. So if you have any questions, please fire them in the questions panel and we'll have Sharon answer them for you, and we'll move right along. Our total time for flight today should be about 30 minutes. And as always, I hope you make me go over into the 35 to 40 minute time frame. Feel free anytime to ask a question and we'll do our best to get them answered right away. Unlike most presenters, I prefer being interrupted because if it's important to you, it's important to us. Who am I? Those of you who have been here before, we've actually got some folks that have done 13, 14 of our webinars. So for those of you who have heard this before, I apologize for being boring, but I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I'm just going to let you read it. And experience matters is all I have to say. And before I get started any further, those of you who want today's handouts, which include today's slides and some handouts for actual capability statements, Sharon was kind enough to furnish us one today so that you can take a look at it. And you can get that off the view menu and then make sure handouts is checked and then download them at your convenience. For those of you who can't get that done between now and the end of our session, you can go to our website, marketus.com/cap19, CAP19. Your choice how you want to do it. Moving on. What's in it today for you? You're going to learn a little bit about the government market in addition to what exactly, and it's very voluminous, I might add, what a real capability statement is. And hopefully by the end of the session, you'll be as confused as I was when I first started going through capability statements. The good news is I don't deal with the government, so I don't have to worry about having a CAPE statement. Every contractor must have a statement. Well, you don't have to, but you're going to find out why you must have one by the time we're finished today. Most of our people have it somewhere on their website under their government page, which you're highly encouraged to create an actual dedicated government page that tells about you in the government. Put a link there to download it. Then we're going to talk about the reasons that agencies like to use GSA. It's going to be very, very short. I believe the question is self-explanatory. My question to you is, do you recognize anybody? That's how long we've been around. All the way back to 1986. So when I tell you this, it's been vetted, verified, and re-verified by someone in the government. What is a capability statement? Those of us that have been around since time began call it a line card. Now, an original line card just had all of your products and all of your services and everything thrown on it, and it started out as a card, then it became 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, whatever. 1 to 2 page document. Make it a PDF. Now, I'm going to talk to you about email etiquette very quickly. By the way, we have 25 slides to go through. I'm on number 8. We're going to move along smartly. Everything you need is in the slides that you'll download. Do not, I repeat, do not ever, when you are first contacting a government official, never put an attachment in your email. It's rude. Ask permission or send a link to where they can get it from your website. So from that aspect, please be careful. Modify it to fit the agency by agency. Now, bottom line is, if you're like Sharon and you're providing, and I'm going to genericize this because I don't want to violate any HIPAA regulations, when you're getting into therapy sessions, therapy services, you don't want to have a different CAPE statement for every different thing you do. Put them all together. Make sure you have your certifications in there and your contract vehicles with contract number, NAICS codes, PSC codes. There's all kinds of new stuff coming along. We're going to have to do a video on that. It is your calling card. You have a business card, great. They look at the business card and they go, yeah, okay, they got a website, they got an email, they got a fax, they got a phone number. What do? I'll let you finish reading that. You have to have something. It's like a resume combined into one card. Make sure that you note that you are registered with SAM. Now, there's a reason why we want all this stuff in the statement. You're doing their market research for them. They have to look at 3 companies before they place an order. Now, I say an order. Before they go out, they have to have at least 2 bidders to do a bid of some sort. If it's a contract, they're supposed to review 3 other schedules or CAPE statements to see who best fits what they're trying to do. They also have to show the SBA. They've got goals they've got to meet. You're going to see a table later on that discusses this further in depth. At least you're going in their file under good faith, not just somebody who happened to stop by and needed a warm place to grab a cup of coffee. The buying office doesn't really control much other than obligating the funds. The user is the one that you want to get that CAPE statement in front of. That's the one you want to call, you want to talk to, you want to email. It's always nice to leave it with the customer. Primes, if you're working with a prime, whether you're a sub or a prime yourself, it's always nice that you exchange capability statements. That leads you to possibly, if you already have a contract, being able to do a contractor teaming arrangement. We have a video on that on our site that talks about contractor teaming arrangements. What about trade shows? You go to a government trade show, you better have hundreds of them with you. That's really what they want because it has your phone number, it has your email, it has all the pertinent information. We're going to show you that in a few seconds. I lied, it was 2 seconds. This is what you need as a bare minimum on your card statement. I use card because I'm old. Capability statement. These items must be on the capability statement. Now, the next set of criteria, for the record, those of you who have been following the media, GSA has basically terminated the Dun & Bradstreet contract for managing SAM, the records. They've gone with Ernst Young, and they're coming up with a whole new schema on how to do things. I have no idea what it's going to be. I'm guessing they might be using a cage code, but I have no idea how you're going to get a cage code without a DUNS number. So remains to be seen how that's going to play out. Tell me about yourself. What can you do? How can you solve my problem? Give me 4 capabilities, or 5, or 2, or whatever. Just give me capabilities that you can do. Tell me how you can ease my pain as a government agency. Are you offering best value? Now, we've discussed best value before. I use Best Buy and Amazon as an example. Amazon might cost a little more because you already have free shipping if you're Prime. You get it shipped to you in 2 days. A lot of times, no tax. You go to Best Buy, you can get it right now, but you're going to pay sales tax and you got to find a way to get it home, especially if you're talking big TVs. My past performance, almost 33 years of helping folks like you succeed in the government. That's my past performance. And you saw in the beginning, some of the huge companies that are out there weren't huge when they started. Am I responsible? No. Did I show them the trough to go eat? Yes. That's the important thing. Make sure if you're dealing with products, you satisfy the made in USA doesn't necessarily mean made in the USA. It comes under Trade Agreements Act. We did a video on that also, which is on our site. How do you comply with trade agreements? Make sure you do. Any other best value? Those of you in the construction world, green and LEED certified. And if I could remember, if anybody remembers very quickly, what does LEED stand for again? L-E-E-D. I have to keep looking it up because I don't use it that often anymore. We did a couple LEED clients years ago. Security clearances? Anything good like that? Past performance with primes? Do you do state and local? Any agencies? Tell me what you do. I'm the buyer. I need to know everything I can find out about you so I can spend money with you. Photos? I got a coin toss, and I actually forgot to ask Eileen what her thought process is on doing photos. Do I want my ugly mug on there? Do I just want the logo of the company? Whatever. Always ask for what's called a call to action. Obviously, you want them to buy, but if you get them to call, at least that way you can get a capabilities briefing so you can go in and give the presentation, much like I'm giving you now, but the only difference is you're presenting your statement, which is custom designed for you. And I got a surprise for you at the end. I actually have a link that can help you get your CAPE statement done, and I'm going to stick my neck out with her in a day. But if 50 or 60 of you all at once contact Eileen, you're not going to get it in a day. She works on first come, first serve. Yes, you do need a CAPE statement when you're dealing with a government agency. They like the idea that you have a CAPE statement. They already know what it is rather than having to go through and read through all your labor category descriptions, your products, and go to your website and go all these other places. If they can get your resume, i.e. CAPE statement, they're happy. And the fact that you're already approved, which really the term should be awarded, you are a approved competent vendor. Now, real quick, how many of you have a GSA or a VA contract? You can just raise your hand if you want. 1, 2, 3, that's nice. Well, not that long a list, but it's close enough for government work, as they say. Let me go back to questions. Any questions so far? I'm getting through very, very quickly. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to bring Sharon on, and I'm going to ask her a few questions. And hopefully that'll prompt you folks to start asking some questions and force me to go over my 30-minute allocation, which I absolutely love doing. Socioeconomic determinations. How many of you are any of the determinations listed in the table? Service disabled, vet, hub zone, woman-owned, Native American, 8A. Just type yes or I don't know or question mark or anything. Thank you, Lake. It doesn't matter which one you are. Lake, do you have a contract? Either any contract at all, whether it's SOUP, GSA, VA, anything. Subcontract with Department of Labor. How do you subcontract with Department of Labor unless you're on an 8A contract, which means the SBA is the prime and you're the sub? Is that correct? Or you're subcontracting with a prime, which I strongly suggest you don't do. please go visit our video section and learn about why not to subcontract. The surprise I was giving you, this is Eileen's info. Federal Sales Sherpa Show is a live link that'll be in your slides. 18 hours. That's a lot of time to be on the radio. There's also her phone number, and I talked to her a few minutes before we started, and she eagerly awaits your call, as I do, even though my phone's on Do Not Disturb right now, so it doesn't interrupt us. I have to read this, Lake. Subcontract with a prime. It is proving very challenging. Lake, please contact me after, and let me show you how to save 15 to 30%. Sounds like a Geico commercial. 15 to 30% by not using the prime. Let's make you the prime. I'm going to take a moment here, and I'm going to unmute, as soon as I find her, I'm going to unmute Sharon, and we're going to have a little discussion. And since I did the contract, I know exactly what questions to ask her. Sharon, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mike.
Very good. Welcome. And the world is listening. And the good news is we're not on webcams. If I was going to do a webcam, I'd probably have my girlfriend stand in front, and I'd just stand behind her and talk because she's much prettier than I am. So let's go back. I hate to say this, but I'm going to explain why I'm going to say it. Let's go back 2 years when we first started. Did you have a capability statement then?
I did, but after speaking with you and Eileen, I had to do a lot of amendments to it.
If I remember correctly, wasn't it about 14 or 15 changes?
Yeah, probably about that many changes. I had to do some reductions because I think I had about 4 pages at the time. So yeah.
So you were writing a book.
I was trying to include as much information about my company as I could, but I later found out that I would lose their attention after page 2.
Okay. And now that you're down to page 2, did you basically tell the same story that you were doing on 4+ pages before?
I did.
And it came out absolutely beautiful, I might add. And
it definitely got straight to the point and conveyed what it needed to.
And as a result, you're at least getting traction on talking to people. And unfortunately, this isn't something we're just going out and we're buying a new cell phone or we're buying a new TV. What you're offering in the form of professional guidance, I'm going to call it, because of the HIPAA rules, want to make sure that we don't violate anything there. And you are in discussions with quite a few folks now about bringing them into your facilities to start their, I'll just call it rehab.
Yes.
Counseling, let's call it counseling. It's much safer.
Yes.
Very good. Let me see what else I've got here, if I've got any questions that popped up while I wasn't looking. I've got a question here. How long, I was going to go over this anyway. How long did it take to get your contract? Well, I'll let you answer it, and then I'm going to explain it.
This is my GSA contract?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you might want to explain that one. I want to say it took about, like 3 years, maybe even, I'll say about 3 years.
It actually took almost 2 years, but the caveat in there was that because the email that you got from Sam saying that your registration was due to expire, you didn't get. What ended up happening was your SAM record expired during this debacle where they finally prosecuted the fraudster who was charging everybody to do their SAM record, and as a result was changing banking information, and that company got caught, and it ended up taking us, I'm thinking, almost 5 months for us to finally get your record reactivated because of the backlog with the notarized letter, which is not your fault. So we're going to take 5 months off of that. It was all pretty close to almost 2 years because we had, one contract specialist who let it sit for 6 months and didn't do anything. So there's 10 months of the 2 years right there. I think when we finally got the CO to finally wake up and stop doing all the other things he was doing that didn't matter to you, and it took him about 3 months. So theoretically, in a perfect world, it would have taken 30 to 120 days without all the extra noise around the outside. So I've defended that all along, the whole time since we've worked together on this. But the important thing is now you have it. You have a beautiful capability statement, which hopefully everybody has already downloaded. If not, they can go to CAP 19 on our website and they can pull them all, including today's slides. There's actually 3 capability statements there. And what challenges have you come up against when somebody reviews your CAPE statement? Any off-the-wall questions that should be in the statement? Is there, do you need to revise it in any way, or are you happy with the way it is?
I haven't come up against any challenges from any of the contractors that I have spoken with. However, my biggest challenge is just keeping it updated. Like I've added a couple of locations, so just making sure I put those addresses in there. There was one location that I closed, so I had to go in and take that address out. There were a few services that we stopped offering, so I went in and took those out. And then there were a couple of other services that we started offering, so I wanted to go in there and put that in. So just kind of keeping everything relevant to what's really going on in your business today.
So it's a living document is what it is.
A living document, yes.
And that's a very important fact that everybody listening in today should understand, that this isn't something you just put together, throw up there, and I'm done. Like a website. Mine, in my opinion right now, stinks. When I first moved it from where it was, 3 or 4 revisions back, and moved it to what it is now, it was beautiful. Then all of a sudden, with the new page builders that come out and everything else, it has to be a living document. So the beauty of it is, 5 minutes before we started this webinar, I remembered that I had to create a page on the site so you folks could get the handouts. Well, it took 3.5 minutes to do, where it would have taken me 3.5 hours before. So I feel your pain on that. And the important thing is that, I guess really the money question is, how many compliments have you gotten on your CAPE statement?
I don't know if the word compliments would be what I would use. I have got acknowledgments. Just hearing that, they were glad to hear that I had that and I had it ready and available to send to them. That's
a compliment.
Well, yeah, I guess those are compliments.
That's the best compliment. Thank you for doing my job, is what he really said. Because now you're in the file, and SBA knows who you are because you've either visited him or he or she has your statement. And the important thing is, now the next step is, as long as we continue to follow up with that agency or agencies, then eventually that's going to turn into business.
Right.
Okay, Lake, welcome back again. As a new company with no past performance, how does one decide what to put on a capability statement? Sharon, how much past performance did you have when you first started this out?
I had more than I gave myself credit for. It was a little hard getting started just because I just wasn't sure. I guess I didn't feel confident with what I wanted to present. And after working with you and just looking at some other sample CAPE statements, I was able to pull from what I really already had, just experience that was already there.
And then gave it all to Eileen and said, make it pretty.
Right. Make it pretty.
Well, Lake has no past performance, even though I'm guessing that Lake, you're a new company, probably less than a year old, but, and I tell this story at every GSA webinar, you've done something. You didn't just drop on the planet the day you started your new company. You've been doing this, something like this, for somebody else or independent or sole proprietor or whatever for years. That's what goes on your capability statement. But I strongly suggest you copy down Eileen's phone number, give her a call either before or after you call me, and let's discuss it in detail. If we have to, I can conference her in when you call me, and we'll be more than happy to spend a few minutes and kind of get you guided in the right direction. And the fact that you're working as a sub, that's automatically giving you past performance. It may not be the amount that you want, but it's past performance. And you can borrow past performance from your previous life. Sharon, where do you go from here? By the year end, what's your goal?
Is to at least have one good contract out here with ideally the Bureau of Prisons, but I'm open. My goal right now, like I said, is to get a contract and also just making sure I keep everything up to date on my CAPE statement because I want to be ready when I get a call, and I don't want to have to, run home or run to my office to change anything. I need it with me and ready to send to them.
All right. Now, I want you to understand what I'm about to say. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a company, a woman who has been a client for over 3 years with us. She still uses the word get a contract. She has a contract. What she's looking for now is orders.
Orders, that's right.
Okay?
That's right.
And that is the hardest thing in the world for people to get their head around because we assume all the time when we are talking to somebody that in the government, we just assume that what they want is us to bid on something. We don't have to bid anymore. All we do is budgetary quotes. That's the important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to find out, here's our rates. They're already negotiated. Doesn't matter what the contract is. Even with the big contracts, networks, SOUP, NASA, anybody, they want to look for what it's going to cost them to do something because they're looking at your CAPE statement, your pricing, and they're saying, I have no idea what the heck I'm looking at. But I know I need this, and this, but I don't see how I'm supposed to configure it or put it together, or do I need a program manager if I've got a project manager with a this and with a that? It doesn't matter. They're going to call you and say, help me put it together. Tell me what I'm going to need, what it's going to cost. Then I'll tell you if I have the budget left. And we are now approaching that slide into the fourth quarter. So anybody interested or, chomping at the bit to get year-end money in the last quarter, don't wait until June, July to get started. Get it done now. I always like to, an old friend of mine, Larry the Cable Guy, get her done. Because if you don't now, everybody else has the same idea you have about trying to get year-end money, and they all wait till the last minute. Like, when I file taxes, I do the same thing. I wait till the 14th and hope that I made a mistake and it was the 15th, it still went out. Bottom line is, don't wait till the end. Get going now. Anything else you'd like to contribute to the audience, Sharon?
I guess if I was going to add anything, I would say that it's not as hard as it may seem. It is just a matter of sitting down, giving yourself credit for the things you've already done. And believe it or not, you've done more than I guess you would believe that you have done. So even speaking with Eileen, she was able to just kind of quote back to me things I had done just based off conversations we've had. So, that just kind of reconfirmed that you've done a lot more than you really think you have, and you have a really good amount to put on that case statement. So don't sell yourself short.
Well, you proved that by going to 4 pages and saying, well, can't do that much. I got to find a way to use smaller type, get it into 2. That would have been my first suggestion, but Eileen is the pro at that, and that's why we use her for all of our clients, because not just the capability statement, just the fact that she can do the 3-step program and do the deep dive analysis to tell each and every person that she works with exactly who's buying what, where, and when, with the full contact information. So you've got people to start talking to. You've got a contact list. And if you look at the video on FedBizOps, fbo.gov, we explain exactly how to clean all the contact information off of that legally, because it's public information. So you've got people to talk to. Here's some helpful links. Sharon, thank you for your contribution. And
Okay.
I'm going to mute you back so that your other phone can ring.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, very unusual that you're able to get somebody that can come on and be that very candid on the pain she went through getting started. So here's some helpful links. They're all live links. I'm not going to bore you with reading them and telling you what they are. I will tell you the upcoming webinar schedule as of right now is blank, because I have to reload it with the next round of webinars. If there's anything that you would like as a topic having to do with government sales, marketing, and contracts, please feel free to drop us a line. And where do you drop that line? I love when I segue into my own stuff. Remember, CAP19 on the website, marketus.com/CAP19 will get you the slides. If there's no other questions, I got my 5 minutes over. That was wonderful. Blake, thank you for your questions, and look forward to talking with you, and be happy to set up a conference call with Eileen at your convenience. And everyone, have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar.